Welcome back. Kevin's Mobile Repair, doing a Honda Accord, quick struts, and passenger side CV axle. So, there's our quick strut assembly. These things have this type of ish item on the bottom half. Now, these are relatively easy compared to some others. Line up pin right here. Line up down in there, sit in place. That's where your bolt goes through, so it has to seat it far enough down there in order for the bolt to pass through here to pinch it to hold it. So you'll know when you got it in there, the bolt won't go through. So first thing, we got some 12s on top for a support. We got some 14s on top for the actual strut itself. This little support bar has to come out of the way in order to be able to get at least one of the 14s for the nut itself, but it comes out of the way. Plus they're also the strut also has 12s here that hold this on and help hold the support bar. So all of that has to come off. So loosen those up, take off your upper control arm bolt, thread it all the way down the bottom, then with the nut still on partway there, smack it right here, or you can use a ball joint press and press it off. Lower this out of the way, take off your 12 for the brake cable or for the brake line, so that way it doesn't get pulled, and your 310s for your ABS sensor, so that way it doesn't get pulled. Down at the bottom is going to be, this is a what they call a push-through type bolt. So you'll want to get the nut end off, which is going to be a 17. Do not rotate this end because this one slides in there and stays put. Once that nut is off, then you can get a drift pin or anything like that to push it out in this direction, which goes through right here. Once that is out of the way, there's a 12 for the clamp right here. Take the 12 out, and you'll be surprised how easy this actually comes off, because you will not be able to get it out of the way without first taking this off, because there's not enough distance for this to come all the way down. If you're doing the lower control arm, then there would be, but in this case there's not, because it goes right in between, right in through here is where the CV axle itself goes. Even if you're doing the CV axle, this has to come off in order to do this. It just makes it 10 times easier. But once that is pushed and out of the way, then all of this is free. For the CV axle itself, this is a 36-inch nut. There is a little indentation. Little indentation right here. You'll use a flathead screwdriver to go in between it and push this up. This is a little locking tab that locks this nut in place so it does not come off. So you'll make sure that you flatten this out so that this thing can round all the way, otherwise you will not get this nut off. Of course, I have a big impact gun to take mine off, but you can use a long breaker bar to bust it loose. It will be in there relatively tight. Spray some PB Blaster in here and in the back, so that way these are typically rusty. Hit the hammer it out this way. Use a drift pin as well, get it right in the center, and finish pushing it out so that it comes all the way out this way. For the back half, passenger side, you can get to it really easy. It's one of those little half shafts. There's another extension that goes to the transmission, but you only get to do the half shaft. So you get underneath the car, right in this section right here will be exposed. You can get a screwdriver and a hammer and tap on it. Oh, put some PB Blast around this area. It also makes it easier for this to come off the inside the shaft piece. So right there, get a screwdriver, tap, tap, tap there, tap, tap here, walk it back and forth, and then this whole thing will pop off. And then same way going back in. Put some more rust penetrator back in there, makes it slide in there easier. Insert it back into here, and at the same time, put this over this and mount your quick strut up in there. Don't tighten it, just mount it up in there, so you got all kinds of wiggle room in order to be able to get this stuff lined up, this stuff lined up. And I would suggest getting all the bolts in before you start tightening stuff up, because it will get stiff once it does, and you will have less free play for getting things lined up, and it'll be more of a bear. But I did both sides for this vehicle, but I'm showing just this side because it's got the CV axle part involved. Overall, both sides, you want the CV axle, hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. But other than that, just make sure when you put everything back there, good and snug and tight. You can take off your outer tie rod end to give you a little more room, but I don't like to take off as many things as possible, because usually when these things come off, they don't like going back on easy. Unless you're going to replace it, they will start spinning. You don't really know the condition of it. This one has a little bit of cracking around the edge, which I'll notate to the customer, but other than that, this vehicle's in pretty good shape. So I'm gonna go back together and finish this job up. Any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know.